What is up, VC? Back again, filmed a video a couple days ago, and it's Sunday morning. Actually, no, I filmed the video yesterday, but this morning my girlfriend is out of town, just staying at her sister's, so got the apartment to myself. Figured it was a good time to catch up on the last couple videos I have to make. Hope everyone's doing well. Beautiful day here yesterday. This is side 2 of what I was playing in yesterday's video. Organic Pulse Ensemble, Transcending the Sum. Great record. Once again, just wanted to kind of keep that going and encourage people up to really awesome stuff today. Okay, so yesterday was local digs. Today is part 2 of the online digs. And it's really good that I'm doing this because although I thought I was super organized after making the first one in keeping my crate kind of separate as to the ones I had shown, as I listened to stuff, bring things into other rooms, I realized I just trying to grab the stack to make this video took a while because things were mixed up again. Couldn't really remember where I had left off, but anyway, I think I got it. I might be missing 1 or 2. And if I have show a double, I don't think I'm showing anything I've shown. So let's get into it. This is all the records, well, the second half of the crate of records that stuff I was tempted by online. We all know how it goes, either through Discogs and Instagram, I would say. eBay this year, I didn't get as much stuff off eBay. It's a bit more work, and I gotta limit myself. You can find great stuff on eBay if you're, following lots of searches and stuff, but it's easy enough to find more than enough on Discogs. Oh, I also wanted to say, so many people posting about going to fairs. There's live convention in Toronto. There's some Brooklyn flea market fair or Brooklyn something going on, and then I know Dave Belson's doing a fair, I think, or up around his area in Massachusetts. So kind of jealous, but also really happy that I'm not at a fair because I have more than enough records to last me a lifetime pretty much. But yeah, no fairs in Montreal just yet. The big fair here is at the end of October. I had been talking to one of the guys that works at the record store here that I'm friends with about doing a smaller kind of fair, something fun, but just with work and time, it's kind of hard to get that to come together right now. Okay, so records. Already wasted 3 minutes of your time. This one I feel like I might have shown, but Year of the Aaron Shep, Ken McIntyre. This is on United Jazz, United Artists Jazz. Always nice, these. I like the kind of texture that these covers have. So on here you have a quintet and a quartet. Jackie Byard, Ron Carter, Lou Hayes, Ben Riley on one, and then on the other one, John M. Lewis, Ed Stout, don't know him, Ahmad Abdul Malik, definitely know him, and Warren Smith. So that's cool. There's a track called Cosmos on here, which I like the sound of. I haven't played this one since I got home. I think I played it maybe at my cousin's house when I was in Michigan. But this was a completely unknown buy off of someone I really, respect their taste on Instagram. And it's a private press, so I figured why not. He sent me some samples and it sounded good, but this was a long time ago. I think this is like almost a year ago now. This is one of the first ones I bought. This is A Wild Man Waiting, the Ron Roberts Concert Ensemble. So yeah, on Jasmine Records. Know nothing about this. I'm kind of waiting to play this one. I have a few guys that I do listening sessions with that work at the record store here, and they're supposed to come over next week. So I think this is one of the ones that I will put in my little pile to play for them. I had mentioned I bought a couple gospel records, a few gospel records. I think I had shown 2 out of the 3. This is the other one. Only a Matter of Time, Sanders and Co. Completely unknown. not really a gospel expert. S&C Records, that's what the label looks like. I'm sure some of you know this stuff a lot better than me because I don't know it at all. But I kind of, when I see gospel records that look interesting and I can find samples of them online and they're not expensive, I like to grab them, build up a little gospel collection. This is a record I've been wanting for a while, but didn't want to pay stupid money for. Still never found a copy locally here. So it's really just woke up, so having my coffee. I think I've only seen a copy in person once, I think at a fair in Toronto. And it was a bit more than I wanted to pay, but finally a copy came up online that was in good shape and fairly priced. So yeah, happy to grab this. This is a record that I've played it since I got it, but one of the I remember downloading this maybe 10 years ago and listening to it digitally and really digging it. Hadn't really listened to it since, but I know that was before Instagram and before any of the vinyl community for me anyways. So then I see so many people posting it and talking about it. So yeah, was happy to find a copy. This one is what I consider a bit of a steal, not intentionally, but was really, really happy. The seller was very generous and kind. Anyway, so this is the Jazz Messengers at Cafe Bohemia, Volume 1. I think I have this on CD. I think maybe I have like a 2 for CD set of this. So yeah, this is, let's see who's in this version of the Jazz Messengers. Yeah, so this is when Kenny Dorham was still in it. Kenny Dorham, Hank Mobley, Horace Silver, Doug Watkins, and Art Blakey on drums. Killer lineup. Beautiful artwork. So yeah, the reason why, inner sleeve, I guess that I consider this a steal. It's not in amazing shape. I think he had it graded at VG, and it is, but you know how these old Blue Notes are. They play well, but actually it's much better than I, surpassed my expectations in how it sounds, and I haven't even got it cleaned yet. But anyway, so this on both labels is a Lexington label. But on the cover, it's a 43 West 61st Street. So it's not a official, it's not a first pressing. I believe it's a second pressing. It has all the other markings, the deep groove, the Plasti-like P, the RVG, and everything. So, but he had it listed at a fair price, and anyway, he had it listed under the first pressing, and then I guess I don't know if he had written with the address on the sleeve or I spotted it. No, I couldn't have spotted it in the picture because it's not his picture. Anyway, so I mentioned it to him, and anyway, he felt bad that he had it listed under the wrong listing, and he ended up giving it to me for I think less than half the price he had it listed for. So yeah, I don't know what it cost, but not very much. So I was really happy, and that's kind of the music that got me started on jazz. I used to listen to that all the Art Blakey CDs that I had all the time. Those live dates have such a good vibe to them. If you don't know them, highly recommend it. I'm not really a huge fan of live recordings. Obviously it's a bit different with jazz. There's some good ones, but you really capture the energy in the room in those ones. And obviously it's not like live with rock shows where it's like a huge concert venue. This was someone on Instagram who was selling a collection of crazy stuff, and it was priced accordingly, on the high end, but fair, I guess. Not fair on the high end, but not outrageous. But this one kind of, for me, fell into the more normal price range, and it was something I was interested in. I really like the other Booker Irving records I have. So yeah, I grabbed this one, the songbook, And this is I think it's a second pressing, I'm not sure. I think there's maybe one on the Fireworks label, but it's this is it a mono pressing? Yeah, but it has this gold label, which I wasn't too familiar with actually, or even familiar with at all. But you have who you'd think, Richard Davis, Alan Dawson, and Tommy Flanagan on here. Booker Irving, great. Kind of not under the radar, but you don't hear him talked about as much, but solid stuff from the mid-60s. Better speed this up here because I've only done a few records and it's 10 minutes in. Keno Duke, Contemporaries, Crest of the Wave. This is on Trident. This is the first record I have on Trident, well, the first original. I have a reissue of a Dick Griffin on Trident. I'm looking forward to digging into that. I have his Strata East records, which I love. But yeah, some really nice modal jazz. Crest of the Wave. This is probably one of my top 5 records out of this batch, out of this crate, and one of, definitely right up there with one of my favorite jazz records. And I know the local store had this years ago when I was first getting into this new jazz thing, and Tom, who I bought this from, told me about it, but it was more than I wanted to pay for any record at that time, and I kind of regretted not buying it. But now I regret not buying it back then. But anyway, everything comes to in time and at the right time. So this is It's Not Up to Us, Fired Lancaster, on Vortex. I won't say anything else about this other than if you don't know it, go check it out. I kind of think in my mind I was expecting this to be more free than it is, and it's not free at all. It's just right in the right groove for me. Walt Dickerson Quartet, Impressions of a Patch of Blue, is on MGM. And I like Walt Dickerson on Vibes. What intrigued me about this one is that Sun Ra plays piano on here, so probably one of the cheapest Sun Ra records, or records with Sun Ra on it that you can get. This is definitely a right time and place, not in terms of that it's heavy, is that more it's kind of spacious, and so yeah, it's not like a groovy or super high energy record, but it's definitely interesting. I've not listened to this yet. Steve Kuhn live in New York, because I found that other one since, so I've been listening to that one. Also on Cobblestone, distributed by Buddha. Curious to see what that's like. This I have listened to, and wow. Sounds of Liberation. I was talking about this in my last record when I was showing, and my last video when I was showing the Monette Settler record. I don't know if these are still available. It came in 2 versions, the paste on cover, which is this one, and the regular. I kind of regret they got some in at my local shop here of the regular ones, and I kind of regret not buying it to give as a gift to someone, because it's that good, honestly. If you can find a copy, check this out. You can listen to it online on streaming services and stuff, but very good. Philly jazz, and he's doing it right with doing it with the artists and stuff like that. Max from Brewerytown Beats. Okay, next one is a batch, except I think I'm missing one. Hold on a second. Okay. One was still I had been listening to. Okay, so these are 5 records on Cadence Jazz, and you could buy off of a website. Now they listed their catalog on Amazon. There was one record in particular that I wanted because of it being highly recommended by a few members of the VC, and I ended up grabbing a few others. I regret not buying more of this particular record. now because, I mean, it's still available, but they've doubled the price. Still very reasonable. I have actually not cracked the seal on it yet. This is probably going to go into that pile of records that I listen to when the guys come over next week. But yeah, so I'll show them. Let's start with the main record in question, which is the Dwight James. So yeah, also kind of ties in with that Sounds of Liberation record. Seeing it being from the same kind of crew, except from '81, much later. You also have Byard Lancaster on here, and Khan Jamal as well, Howard Cooper, and not familiar with the other musicians. So I'm really excited about listening to this one. There's so many people that I trust have recommended it. And last I checked, you can still buy this on Amazon for $18. If you go on Discogs, I think the cheapest copy is, going to be anywhere from $50 to $100, depending on your currency. And they were selling them for $9 up until they switched over to Amazon, but $18 still super reasonable for any record, especially sealed. So these are the other ones I grabbed at the same time. That they were all $9 as well, and all either basically brand new or mostly all sealed. I think this was the only one that wasn't, which is why it's the one I've listened to so far. Beaver Harris 360 Degree Music Experience. Sorry, I'm a bit congested. Negomongus is the name of this, and this is really nice actually. Beaver Harris, Don Pullen, Ken McIntyre, Ricky Ford, Hamiet Blewett. Don't know Cameron Brown or Francis Haynes, but not too, there's some free moments in here, but some really kind of deep, reflective, kind of nice energy that I was digging when I spun this. So this one's recommended. Before I bought these, I'd never come, or maybe never noticed when I came across Cadence records. I've seen a couple since, and what's funny is they're all expensive. Not expensive, but more expensive than you can buy them for still from the label. So I guess maybe shops don't know that and they're looking at the Discogs price. You can't buy their whole catalog, but anyway, there's a couple that I've seen locally since, and I've checked them out and they've been ones that are a bit too free for me. And their whole catalog is not this type of jazz. There is some more straight standard stuff, but interesting to find those kind of 80s labels that were still making good stuff, because a lot of stuff in the 80s went to shit. This is Calaparouche, Maurice McIntyre, Ram's Run, Julius Hemphill, Malachi Thompson, and J.R. Mitchell. This could be great, it could be okay. I don't think it's going to be terrible. For me, it's just if it's going to be too heavy. But I like the names of the tracks: Concentration, African Walk, Mountain Duty. This is Barbara Donald and Unity. Carter Jefferson, I only know Carter Jefferson on here, not familiar with the other musicians as much, well, other than Barbara Donald, who plays with Sonny Simmons. The Past and Tomorrows is the name of the album. And what's nice about these is the sealed ones, they're not in like tight shrink, they're loose. So I'm not really worried about them being, this one, however, is in tight shrink, but two of them are in the looser shrink. And then another Barbara Donald. This is the live one. For $9, not really much of a risk. Don't know any of the musicians on here either, other than Carter Jefferson again. So yeah, that's the Cadence records. And that's it for Organic Pulse Ensemble. So the rest of the video will be sans music. This is another one I picked up from Tom. Charles Tyler Ensemble. I showed the Sonny Simmons I grabbed from him on ESP. This is the other ESP I grabbed. Joe Friedman on cello, Henry Grimes on bass, Ronald Jackson on drums. I'm expecting this to be very heavy, so I'm going to choose the right moment to process this. already 20 minutes in. If you're still with me, hello. You're going the distance probably if you're still with me at this point. Clifford Thornton, the Jazz Composers Orchestra, the Gardens of Harlem. Really don't know this record, but I was kind of into finding stuff on Jazz Composers Orchestra. Merle's Record Rack, I guess that's who I bought this from. I bought this because, I mean, it had been on my want list and popped up for cheap on Discogs. So yeah, looking forward. I don't know who plays on this. I know I'd added this as a recommendation from a friend a while back. It's a nice gatefold and huge lineup on here. Oh yeah. Roland Alexander, Dewey Redman, Pat Patrick, on tenor and soprano, Marvin Peterson, Leo Smith, Ted Daniel. Who else do I know on here? There's about 10 other musicians and I don't know most of them. Big band, not big band, but you know, there's a big band playing on here. So yeah, looking forward to that. That might, oh actually no, that won't go in the pile because I know that one of the guys coming over already has that record. It's nice to kind of find stuff when you're having guys come over that know more about you, more than you about music. It's kind of nice to find some stuff that they've never heard of before or never heard before, and not always an easy thing to do when you're talking about three guys that work at a record store processing records all day long. Doug Karn, Adam's Apple, one of the Black Jazz records that has a different looking cover. I've listened to this and I was pleasantly surprised. I don't know, maybe because it was, you know, it's one of the less sought after Black Jazz records. I mean, they're all sought after, but you know, it's one of the easier ones to find. And so I didn't know if it was how good it was going to be, and I really enjoyed this. It's right in the right zone for me. So yeah, definitely. I mean, there's a reason why it was probably one of the more popular ones, you know. Oh, I actually got this from the same seller. I already had this, but my copy is in not the best shape, as particularly the cover. And I think this was like $10 or something. So I added it to the cart at the same time. This is actually something I discovered through one of those listening sessions with that crew I'm telling you about. I'm gonna hang out with next week, and he played this when we went over. One of the guys played this when we went over to his house, and it was stunning. So Sangkala, this is, I believe, Indonesian music. Yeah, modern instrumental music from Indonesia. I think it's from the 80s. Yeah, 1985, and I've yet to play this again since I got home, but this is not an expensive record, and when he played this for us, we were absolutely blown away. So whether you're into kind of world music or not, I recommend you check this out. I'm not sure if you can sample it online, but very good stuff. This I have high expectations for. Hannibal, just because I love this artist, Marvin Hannibal Peterson. Hannibal and the Sunrise Orchestra, self-titled Hannibal, on MPS. This one is from, what year is this from? 75. So yeah, it should be right there in that kind of good zone. Looking forward to that. And a couple more. Lee Dorsey, Yes We Can. Some classic kind of New Orleans funk record. Really, I dig this, and happy to find a copy. I'm into the funky stuff, especially the New Orleans sound. I think, is this produced by Alain Toussaint? Yeah, it is. All songs written by Alain Toussaint. There you go. And lastly, another one from Tom, Jerry the Damager. What's funny is, guess what? I walked into a store last week and they're playing this, and it's for sale. And I already have it. But it's always, you know, never see used hip hop records, and the one that I buy, the one out of the whole stack online, is the one that I happen to find locally. hip hop rarely ever shows up here, but that's just the way record collecting and digging goes, right? So that's it. That's the totality of my crate of online purchases. Oh no, I'm lying. Well, no, 3 more records. These I've actually purchased since I got home and have managed to get them to me because a friend of mine, guy from that crew, has a PO box, and he was nice enough to let me ship them there, and he already brought them back for me because he happened to be making a trip to the States. So this was a moment of weakness on Instagram through Atlanta Wax Junkie. If you don't follow him, follow him. Less chance of me buying records if more people are following. He does set sales, so instead of just putting records up for sale, he'll like announce in advance, like Friday, usually 7 p.m. is when he does it, and he'll post them all up at the same time, one after the other. And he always has good stuff, and the prices are super reasonable. Sometimes it's a lot of like cheaper records, not like super rare. He does have some of those as well, but you know, stuff in the $10 to $30 range, or even $5 to $30 range. This is Natural 4, Heaven Right Here on Earth, and this was sealed. I didn't know this record at all, but I have their other one that I love on Curdom. I kind of, pretty much anything on Curdom for me is guaranteed to be worth listening to, and this I absolutely love. It's not groundbreaking, but really enjoyable listen. I will be playing this a lot. I've already listened to it a few times. Another couple gospel records. Pilgrim Jubilee Singers, Don't Let Him Down. This is on ABC Peacock Records, and also kind of a lot of their gospel stuff. Really good label, the Peacock division. I don't know if they were their own label first, probably, and maybe were purchased by ABC, because this one has its own label and it's under Peacock Records, but distributed by ABC. And it doesn't have anyway, some of the ABC ones I have, it's like ABC and underneath will be Peacock. This one actually looks like a Peacock Records. And then lastly, this one is called Together by Gloucester Williams in the King James Version. Once again, those of you out there that know gospel, you might know this. I've been listening to this in the kitchen while doing dishes and putting away dishes, cooking, and I'm digging it. Not a Gloucester, not a gospel expert by any means. Nor am I an expert in anything, but I definitely know more about jazz than about gospel. So that's it. Enjoy the end of this nice weather, and then we'll be moving into fall, which is my favorite season, I think. And I'll be back soon with more records. Peace.